So in today's video, as requested, well, I did a poll a few days ago on me either debunking Broku's video on Asta versus Sukuna or Ichigo versus Asta, and you guys wanted me to debunk this video first, and so far the votes are still the people that have voted still want this video to be debunked first. So today I have with me Abyss. Would you want to introduce yourself?
Yo, I'm Abyss. I make Jujutsu Kaisen content alongside other stuff, but I consider myself decently knowledgeable on the verse.
Yeah, he's the JJK guy, and I'm just somewhat supporting him. And in this video we're just going to be like debunking the hacks portion of this video and the non-equalized portion of this video. I'm just ignoring like the combat, AP, verse equalization stuff, because I don't really care, and I don't want to spoil my arguments and scaling for Gojo versus Yami. So I'm just ignoring that. We may talk a little bit about magic and cursed energy, and why I personally don't think you can equalize them. But I don't know, maybe Abyss has something different about it. But yeah. So without further ado, let's get started. Can you still see the screen?
Yeah.
Just tell me when you want to comment on whatever he says so that I can stop the video.
With RCT, and he can summon the 10 shadows, including the most powerful one, Maharaga, who has the potential of adapting to anti-magic. To top it off, the World Slash allows him to cut through the fabric of...
Or can you hear? Is that the volume height for you?
Yeah, that's hard.
Alright. Just making sure.
Reality itself, cutting through space. And this is how he defeated the greatest sorcerer today. Okay, so let's go through all of these scenarios. Say, Sukuna takes Asta seriously by activating his Malevolent Shrine domain expansion right from the jump. This gives him a range of 200 meters where he can attack from anywhere, allowing him to effectively spam his slashing attacks of Dismantle and Cleave. Now, if only Asta had ever faced a character that could spam an ungodly amount of slashes, it would be hard to perceive. Oh wait, he actually did go against a character that did that, when he faced off against the likes of Paladin Damnatio. His atmosphere magic allowed him to attack from a range and slice open his opponents with invisible slashes from every direction. Keep in mind that this is a character with far more power than Sukuna, as he actually believed he could defeat Asta, even though he knew that Asta was stronger than Lucifero, as he defeated Lucifero. When Damnatio sends his attacks at Asta, he's able to surround himself in a wave of anti-magic, completely nullifying all the slashes.
I disagree on like what he's like trying to say, like trying to like equate Damnatio's atmosphere magic with Sukuna's domain expansion, because like domain expansion, they pretty much have like immeasurable speed, unironically, because like the effects hit you before the actual attack, if I remember correctly. I do have that scan. I think this is it. A Shikigami, that must be the domain's can't miss attack. I didn't notice it until it hit me. No, it didn't exist until it hit me. So yeah, like Asta, like the atmosphere magic and like domain expansions, like can't miss attack, it's not the same as what's his face, Damnatio's atmosphere magic. What do you think?
Yeah, domains are consistently like portrayed to have instantaneous attacks, so I don't think it's fair to equate it to just simple long range attacks.
Yeah, because like his attacks does travel. It's
Yeah.
not like it just appears on you. So yeah, I do want to mention like later. I think he like talks about it, but I do want to also talk about like what Sukuna slashes actually do.
This would be comparable to Gojo's Falling Blossom emotion, which uses cursed energy to fight back
Wait,
against the
wait,
sure
wait.
hit. Be
Let's
comparable
go
to
back.
Gojo's Falling
Let's
that Asta was
go
stronger than
back.
Lucifero, as he defeated Lucifero. When Damnatio sends his attacks at Asta, he's able to surround himself in a wave of anti-magic, completely nullifying all the slashes. This would be comparable to Gojo's Falling Blossom emotion, which uses cursed energy to fight back against the sure hits. Considering that Asta's anti-magic energy packs a higher
Okay,
potency than Gojo's cursed energy, and is an
Yes.
that's not how Falling Blossom emotion works.
Oh,
Falling Blossom emotion is already put in place with programming for it to counter this or hit. You also need blatant cursed energy, considering we aren't doing well. Are we doing verse equalization?
this first part he's equalizing their like energy systems. The
Ah,
next part he isn't. But yeah, I have it on screen. The falling blossom emotion is this the scan? I'm pretty sure this is the scan you
yeah, that's
sent.
one.
Yeah, it
But
like
yeah, oh, go on.
no, go on. Explain
Okay.
your stuff.
Kusakabe states that it has to be programmed prior to automatically repel, and it also states that it just doesn't negate the effects. You still get it's. I'll send it again.
Saying that could have sworn I had it.
Yeah, you're looking at the simple domain ones.
Yeah, it's is it when he's facing Sukuna?
Well, no, it's when Gojo uses it.
This one.
Yeah,
Alright, go. It's a cursed energy controlled program for automatically repelling anyone who touches it. Yeah, so yeah,
and the
exactly
bottom
what you
left.
said. Bottom left. There isn't much point against a complicated curse technique effect like Unlimited Void, but it's quite useful against a simple curse technique like Sukuna's Slashes.
But to the left,
Onto the
it
left.
can't withstand domain output without some injury.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, and we still do see him take damage right here. Shallow
Yeah,
cuts. Yeah. I learned it's a. Yeah, I don't really care. But yeah, the. To try equate Falling Blossom emotion with Asta's anti magic is. It's kind of iffy. Because, like, the Falling Blossom emotion is so fast it can like keep up with pretty much immeasurable speed because like the can't miss attack as pointed out earlier doesn't exist within reality until it hits you. So the fact that it can prevent the can't miss attack to some extent just shows how fast the falling blossom emotions like the programming thing is.
well, yeah, it's
And
automatic.
yeah, it's automatic. So you can't really unless you can prove that like Asta's anti magic can do something similar to that at like that level of speed, then okay, sure, then you can like equate it. But based off of my knowledge, Asta or anybody in the verse doesn't have speeds on that level, even if it's automatic. So let's continue. Before we continue, I also want to like make the argument that like I know he's like equalizing cursed energy, cursed techniques to like mana and magic, just so that Asta's abilities can actually work. But the thing is, for me personally, I think that anti magic is more like cursed energy than negative mana. as like Libe explains, like he's been like cursing devils for like an X amount of years or however long he was in the grimoire for, and then because of that he was able to manifest anti-magic. So like anti-magic was born from just negative emotions and just cursing devils. We know that that's like more than that's like closer to cursed energy than like negative mana, because like negative mana is just mana that is like corrupted by negative emotions from humans. But it's not like the energy was created by negative emotions, unlike cursed energy and anti magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I compare
So
this more to like vengeful spirits, like a Utica.
yeah, yeah, pretty much like vengeful spirits, and like it doesn't seem like anti magic works as well. Devils, at least for Zagrid, it was stated he's just like malice. I don't think that's like magic, just being malice. But it could have just been like metaphorically, but yeah.
The energy with the purpose to nullify, it should nullify all of Sukuna's slashes from his domain expansion. Asta does have varying degrees of anti-magic protection. The best is his Devil Union, but even his base anti-magic should be enough, as he always has anti-magic around him, especially when he uses his anti-mana skin. But remember, just because we don't see anti-magic doesn't mean it's not there. Anti-magic can be invisible to the naked eye. And you can argue that Asta would just be physically strong enough to not even need anti-magic to go against the domain expansion, as there is a point in time where Gojo actually stops using reverse curse technique and is taking up a bunch of these sure hits, and while they are damaging him, they are not actually doing that much damage. They are not killing
Not
Gojo.
not doing that
Again,
much
Asta
damage.
is much stronger and more durable than Gojo.
So let's look at the end of the previous chapter where it slits Gojo's throat open.
Oh yeah, the first when they first did domain expansion.
Yeah,
Which chapter was that again?
226 or 227.
Could you send like a link?
Yeah, I'll find it.
Oh yeah, just sliced his neck open. Went all the way through. You can even see the blood splatter from the back of his head. But he just like regenerated.
Also, Gojo prior to this in 226 is like getting torn apart.
Oh yeah, right after that, in the same chapter, his entire body's just obliterated.
He's covered in blood through most of the chapter.
Yeah, he's just covered in blood. Go to the page where he says, "Oh wait, my bad. You can already see my screen." Yeah, like he's just covered in blood. You can see him like just dripping all the way here. Tries to leave. He's just like using RCT to keep up with the slashes, which is impressive, by the way. Very impressive, since I pointed out how the guaranteed hits works. So it's quite impressive. And also remember, Sukuna isn't going all out on Gojo because he wants to evolve his curse technique, which is why he's been taking riskier moves and stuff. And I
If you go to the
think,
page,
oh, tell me,
the page below that,
uh, page below, which one?
the one where he's kicking Gojo to keep his lashes away. And he's still soaked in blood.
He moves well for someone using reverse. Oh yeah. I see it. To keep my slashes attack at bay. Yeah, simple domain. Yada yada. Remember this scan? This is the one that what's his face? This is the one that's in Broku's video.
This isn't even the domain's sure yet.
Yeah, this is Sukuna's, because Gojo still had his simple domain up. As you can see,
Yeah.
it's breaking. Sukuna jumped in the simple domain to use basically. So I
And then Gojo pops it again.
yeah, and then Gojo, like before it completely breaks, Gojo redoes simple domain.
Yeah, because in the scan broke, we see a picture of Gojo's feet still surrounded by simple domain.
And then that's when Gojo used reverse curse technique on his burnt out curse technique to use red. I don't know where he got, in which scan, just want to see where he got, like, or found the statement where I think implies Gojo not using reverse curse
which
technique.
they are not killing Gojo.
Um,
Again, Asta
it's
is much
the
stronger and more durable than
page right
Gojo, which means
after
Asta.
he
Oh,
repops simple domain.
huh?
The page where he redoes simple domain
Yeah.
in the corner. Gojo stops showing us RCT.
Yeah, Gojo stopped healing with reverse curse technique. Yeah, but you can see
But
that, like, the slashes are not, like, slashing
yeah,
per
at the
se.
bottom of the page, we see the simple domain go away, and the next page is showing it torn apart.
The simple domain, like, fully goes away. Oh, I see. So, like, when he reactivated simple domain, he stopped using reverse curse technique
Yeah.
whilst the simple domain was active.
And then when it goes away, we see him progressively until the end of the chapter get more torn up. And when he uses red, his covered in blood again.
Yeah, but like the Sukuna isn't like spamming the sure hit when he like first. Remember when Gojo was just full like covered in blood,
Yeah.
like right after his neck got cut. Like Sukuna wasn't like spamming domains right here. Hang on, no, not here. Right here. He wasn't like spamming it, and he isn't spamming it like when he fought Maharaga, where Maharaga just turned into toothpaste
Oh
because
yeah,
of the
and
amount
this
of
goes over a
slashes.
few seconds. And Gojo's already covered in blood by the time he pops her red.
Yeah, but like the other thing that I was going to say is that like Sukuna in this entire fight is holding back because like if he does beat Gojo here with like his domain, everything's pointless. Like him going into Megumi's body, pointless. Him using Maharaga, pointless because he wants to evolve his curse technique. And like I think in do you know which chapter it is that like Gojo changes the I think it's the next chapter where like Gojo changes the interior and exterior conditions of his domain.
Yeah, it's 227.
Yeah, so it's you can go bigger than this. Yeah, unlimited void, yada yada. Does it again. How about a do-over? Oh yeah, and the nice thing to notice is that since Sukuna is like using domain amplification, this shows that like even with power null, you can still use like you can still have like power null in someone's like domain expansion, and like it won't just neg the domain, if I remember correctly, or unless the domain amplification just like negs curse technique. Yeah, you see Sukuna doing like the riskier move. Sukuna can't miss attack is turned off inside my domain. We know the reason why he did this was so that Maharaga, who is in his shadow, can adapt to Unlimited Void.
But yeah, it is 228.
228. Ah,
It's
yeah,
the second last page.
right here. Sukuna is only activating cursed techniques granted by the domain. And when the domain's interior and exterior conditions were reversed, thereby decreasing the resistance to pressure from the inside, he took a risky move rather than trying to break the barrier from the inside. While our can't miss attack commands offset each other inside the domain, Sukuna has no means of attack other than amplification for defeating my limitless curse technique. That gives me a big advantage inside the domain. He also can't use an huh? What is that word? Help me.
Architectural.
Architectural structure to attack like before. I proceeded as if I had the advantage during the 3 minutes until the domain got destroyed from outside. So why isn't Sukuna trying to use the 10 shadows, specifically Maharaga, inside the domain? Could it be that Sukuna remembers my conversation with Megameme and knows that I know about Maharaga, so on and so forth. Yeah, so he's pretty much noticing like Sukuna's like fighting weird. And then like everybody knows like at the end of the chapter, like Gojo glazing, well, not at the end of the chapter, at the end of this fight, Gojo glazing Sukuna, saying he could have beaten me without the 10 shadows.
Asta is probably going to be waltzing right through a malevolent shrine. Now, this is probably the question that everybody has been waiting for, and that is, can Asta actually counter World Slash? This is a new and improved version of Dismay.
Wait, sorry. Sorry, like 2 seconds passed and I like paused the video again. I'm here to debunk this portion. Well, me and my homeboy are here to debunk this portion of the video. So, yeah, we're going to be chatting. Anywho, so here's the thing, right? I want to first like explain Sukuna's like curse technique. Sukuna having like two types of slashes, well, because like he doesn't, from my knowledge, in the hacks portion, he doesn't actually like explain Sukuna's like two types of slashes. Sukuna having two types of slashes. The main attack is dismantle. Doesn't really have anything fancy. It's just a slashing technique. Whereas the other one, cleave, it pretty much adjusts like depending on the target's toughness and cursed energy level to cut them down in one fell swoop. So essentially, it's like Jack's slashing magic, a bit better in a sense. Well, not better, but it's pretty much just durability negation. I don't think there has to be like some type of charge up time for cleave to like work. People do like get dismantle and cleave. They confuse the two. But yeah, I think with cleave, I saw a statement from Kusakabe. I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name.
Yes.
That with cleave, he has to have like he has to touch you for like cleave to work. You know, like how Yuji uses like his dismantles, he like touches you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a statement where he says like that's what cleave does, and we only really ever see him use cleave, from my knowledge at least, when he like touches someone. Like he used cleave on Yuji in like the final fight, took a chunk out of his like torso. Remember that scene? Like remember the scene where Sukuna has his like one of his arms around Yuji's neck and like puts his palm on like his stomach or like torso and like uses cleave and like takes a chunk out.
Yeah.
And that's when we like first see Yuji use RCT. Unless you can remember a time where Sukuna uses cleave like long range.
Yeah, I remember him using cleave at a range against Kusagabe, I believe.
But then that statement's like kind of weird if like that's the case.
Yeah, he treated it like his own.
Anywho, the difference, like the two types of like the slashes for Sukuna, and yeah, I do think they will do damage to Asta, at least for cleave. I don't know exactly where he scales Asta and Sukuna in terms of AP. show this to the people that this is what I was talking about, folks. About cleave activates when let me zoom in. Cleave activates when he touches his opponents, except inside a domain. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. And another thing that my broski pointed out, cleave, dismantle, released at zero range, and the slashes that cut the world are impossible to defend against using cursed energy reinforcement, amplification, or simple domain. Thus, they generally result in instant death. So yeah, that's you guys can take that as you will. I definitely agree for cleave and dismantle. Well, not dismantle, the world's cutting slash dismantle, but I'm not sure about dismantle just normally.
That's
But
fair.
the other, but the
I was
other
just mentioning
two, yeah. But the other two would, like, if it hits Asta, he's cooked.
And that is, can Asta actually counter World Slash? This is a new and improved version of Dismantle. The Sukuna can level up with either a Binding Vow or a chant that attacks space itself. We can actually look at similar attacks in Black Clover and see how Asta fares against those. And, well, he's already negated attacks like this before when he faced off against Longris, whose attacks are stated to erase space, and in the databook is stated to carve out the universe itself. A pretty weak version of Asta's anti-magic was able to easily erase this spatial erasure magic. This is Asta in, like, chapter 129 with just his regular black form. The anti-magic in his current base form is many levels above this, so either Asta negates the slash directly with his own anti-magic, or he just tanks it. Also, World Slash is dodgeable, so even if you don't want to say that Asta can nullify it, he would be able to easily get out of the way, as characters much slower than him have been able to dodge it. And there are alternative measures for Asta to counter the World Slash. Causality Break allows him to affect the causality of magic. He has done this before to nullify poison, and then actually remove the physical effects of said poison from causality. He's even done this with physical wounds from the atmosphere magic as well. Basically what he does is with his Demon Destroyer sword, he nullifies magic, and that actually destroys its effect as well. We see him do this both against Lucius and the Devil Twins. Both times it basically shuts off their magic power, thus removing their fire and ice from causality. Meaning that if Asta does the causality break on Sukuna, it would actually nullify his cursed energy, and thus remove the World Slash from causality, making so that it never actually existed. Oh yeah, and there's no reason that he would not be able to do this to Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine either, as Asta has even actually used even lesser versions of his anti-magic to nullify
Okay, so let's just focus on the World Slash part. What do you think about
Yeah.
his argument for that?
So for a World Slash, he doesn't usually get caught or mock. Anyone who dodges it doesn't actually dodge World Slash.
Okay, well, for one, Maki doesn't dodge World Slash because he didn't use World Slash on Maki. He just
Well, yeah, he
used.
doesn't use World Slash.
If we go to 53, yeah, this is what people would say is World Slash because of the enchantment. But if you actually look closely, Sukuna's isn't doing the hand sign at like the with his two lower arms. He isn't actually doing any sign really.
What I was saying though is, if you go to 255, Yuji says that you can't use it.
255, you say?
Yeah, near the end of the chapter, he says dismantle the slash that cuts the world and has a broad first technique. So activating it requires the Enma palm sign, like when activating the other. However, before transforming, when he had half his arms, Sukuna imposed a binding vow on the activating conditions so he could cut Gojo. Now he must satisfy both the palm sign and curse chant conditions for the slash that cuts the world, and direct the curse technique with hand signs. He can't complete the palm sign with just the top and bottom right hands. His reverse curse technique still isn't functioning.
Oh yeah. We see him do that with Kashimo.
Yeah,
Like
that's why I
he
took it back to that.
yeah
Him using
he
it.
what's his face? Broku already showed that scan, I believe.
Problem would be though is presuming that world slash travels, which I know you
Uh,
disagree with that.
yeah, I heavily disagree with it. 238. So Kashimo's getting like bullied. Here we go. Here's a good shot. So you can see he's doing the hand signs and he's pointing, and he had to do like the full. Oh yeah,
The
you can
chant.
even see it here. do the full chant.
So he does use world slash. It's just
And then he's like says dismantle, blah blah blah. But in when facing with Maki over here, you can see his arms isn't doing that. So this is just a enchanted dismantle that was launched, not world slash. And also for this, so Sukuna, like he has two mouths, right? So while his lower mouth is like doing the enchantment, he tells Kashimo invade this, then points at him and then says dismantle. So like Kashimo, oh yeah, and he also did the hand sign. And so like Kashimo had more than enough time to get out of the way. He was told to dodge and he still fails to do so. Like he was able to move somewhat, but like he still got like tagged.
and yeah, again, it's presuming world slash travels.
Yeah, presuming world slash travels. Personally, I don't think it like travels just because of like how the slash just appears multiple meters in front of Sukuna. Which if it did
And doesn't move
travel,
fast.
yeah, and if it did travel, it would have started from where his hand's sticking out, and there would be a direct line going all the way to where the slash is. But nah, it just appears, just spawned out of nowhere. So I don't think World Slash as Sukuna's World Slash per se travels, but like Maharaga's World Slash presumably does travel. But more importantly, yeah, I don't think Asta's tanking World Slash, which I do have the scan right here. We shall read it together, all of us. The top part doesn't really matter. That was just the extension of the curse technique's target. Okay, that doesn't matter. So what really matters is where my mice is circling, right? Its target was not Satoru Gojo. It extended all the way to space, existence, and the world themselves, so as to cut them. So this slash, the new world slash, it's not just cutting space, unlike offensive spatial magic that's target is only space, and not dimension slash where it only cuts space, whereas world slash it cuts space, it cuts existence, and it cuts the world themselves. So it's more so like a reality slash than just a spatial slash, which is why Kusakabe, as pointed out earlier, let me show you the scan again. Just a refresh, even though I showed it like a few seconds ago. Well, not a few seconds, a few minutes ago. That World Slash is impossible to defend against using cursed energy reinforcement, amplification, or a simple domain. Thus, they generally result in instant death. So even if you have durability, well, not durability, power nullification or whatnot, because that power nullification exists within existence, it's going to get nagged. Thoughts?
Yeah, I just agree. There's not much more to add. It's
Yeah,
basically a
just
domain technique, just not in a domain. It
it's not
doesn't
even a.
exist until it hits.
It's
Well,
it's
yeah,
a lot.
my bad.
You'll
That's a poor explanation.
Yeah, it does well, it's more so just like it's like Amaterasu in like Naruto where it just spawns on you like those black flames that
Yeah,
like Itachi and like Sasuke have, where they just focus on a general location and like the flames just appear, so you can't really dodge it even if they tell you, yo, move out of the way because I'm about to do this new jitsu on the said location. And it's like, it's already too late here. So, I don't really care about like the speed. Even if he thinks it travels, I don't care about like that statement of his. What I do care about is him thinking that Asta can just face tank it. That is just atrocious.
Even after knowing it's Grogu, I still stand by the fact that I don't think he's read the series.
Oh, Broku?
Yeah.
I think he's read the series, but I don't think he did like a reread to like understand the abilities.
Yeah.
Let's just go back a little bit.
Off their magic power, thus removing their fire and ice from causality. Meaning that if Asta does the causality break on Sukuna, it would actually nullify his cursed energy and thus remove the world slash from causality, making so that it never actually existed. Oh yeah, and there's no reason that he would not be able to do this to Sukuna's malevolent shrine either, as Asta has even actually used.
What do you think about that?
The world slash doesn't exist until it like just spawns on you.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it like just spawns, as I'm pretty sure I proved in the previous half of the recording, because I remember talking about, you know, when Sukuna used World Slash on Kashimo,
Yeah.
and there wasn't any travel lines, it just spawned.
And the cut in the ground.
Yeah, the like the cut in the ground. So I think with just that indication, Sukuna's World Slash doesn't travel. But obviously, if you know he's about to like spawn World Slash, you can easily just move out of the way before he actually does it. Similar to like Kashimo, where he was told to like, yo, move out of the way, and then like he had the enough time to just didn't take like a fatal hit from World Slash. But yeah,
Yeah.
it does spawn.
Also, don't think it's particularly something you can physically interact with.
To say that like Asta could just like cancel it with that Demon Destroyer is kind of like I wouldn't want to say baseless, but we know that there's like limitations to what Asta can do with Demon Destroyer Sword. Like we've seen him use Demon Destroyer Sword on like magic curses from like Megicula, and like it doesn't like completely erase the curse, right? It's hard to say that, oh yeah, Demon Destroyer Sword would just like neg World Slash, when I don't even think Demon Destroyer Sword will have the chance to neg World Slash, because it just spawns and then it just disappears. I don't think Demon Destroyer Sword would even work on World Slash, because it's like it's cutting, it's like a reality slash. It's not like just a spatial slash, as like we've talked about like not too long ago in the recording. So it's I think it's a big assumption to make. What do you think about that?
Yeah. That's kind of what I meant by not being able to like physically interact with it. It's not something you can just like block or something.
Yeah, it's even like stated that like World Slash, you can't do anything against World Slash by Kusakabe, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's also saying like, oh yeah, it could do the same thing to like Sukuna's domain expansion. What do you think about that? Oh
Domain
Jesus!
attacks just verbatim spawn on you. There's no.
Let's say that again.
I said domain attacks just spawn on you verbatim. So I don't think there's really any basis
No,
behind blocking with the
I
sword.
I think he's trying to say that like he would just neg the domain entirely, not like the effects.
So Asta's just gonna completely cover the 200 radius area with like his anti magic.
Yeah.
I'm not really too knowledgeable on Black Clover, but if we already went over how the magic in Black Clover equates to cursed energy, then anti magic didn't even equate to like too much in nothing. Jujutsu Kaisen universe,
Well,
unless you were
from
like,
oh no, sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, unless we like baselessly assume that anti magic is just gonna cancel everything.
I think he's like saying that the Demon Destroyer sword, which like can sever the cause and effect of magic, would do the job. But the only critique on that argument is that it's like they're actually, well, open domain barriers to actually like creating their domain in like reality instead of like cutting out a portion of space. Nah.
Kusakabe explained it. Well, the first time isn't Kusakabe explained.
Oh, I think this is it. Could it be that Sukuna suspects he can't beat Gojo in a domain clash? Given Gojo's devious personality and success, I doubt he'd fail. Nah. I think this is it. I'm on chapter. I don't know if you're like looking at the screen, but I'm on chapter 225. Okay, yeah, here's the I think this is the analogy.
I know he compares it to water at some point.
Yeah. He's like, pass me some water, and then I think her name's Azumi, the girl with like,
Miwa here.
yeah, there we go. Not Azumi, Miwa. There we go. Asks her to pass him some water. She passes him a bottle of water. I asked for water. I don't need the bottle. And then it's like, yeah,
I sent
that's
the
what.
one Shibuya as well.
I will have a look at that. Is it possible to hold water without a vessel? Can you paint a picture in the air without a canvas? It'd be like running software without hardware. Anyway, it's impossible. I heard about that before the promotion assessment, but that involved using buildings and existing barrier. Wait, hang on. What does she say? Oh, there. Makes sense. Yeah, this is the one, I think. Malevolent Shrine differs from other types of domain expansion in that it doesn't create a separate space using a barrier. The ability to realize one's innate domain without using a barrier is akin to an artist painting a masterpiece not on a canvas but in the air, a truly divine technique. Yeah, so pretty much what like Kusakabe says, but I don't think that Asta can just neg something of that caliber. We've never seen anyone in the entirety of Black Clover just like use a mana to physically conjure something in reality. It's similar to how like Dorothy can like just create shit in Glamour World, but for like an open domain, you're actually just you're pretty much doing the same thing, but like it's in reality and not in some dreamland or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I you want anything to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's so far he's like making big assumptions for Demon Destroyer sword, but yeah.
Used even lesser versions of his anti-magic to nullify mana zones from characters much stronger than Sukuna. Mana zones being a technique where a territory is made, letting their attacks attack from any direction, which is similar to a domain expansion, though it is different. The vice captain of the Black Bulls, Noct, created a mana zone in his fight with Asta, who with a single slash nullified the spatial territory. I can also mention that even when two characters merge their mana zone together at full power, Asta and his Devil Union, just by existing within it, is nullifying that space, which would actually show that also just by existing in his union form, it's basically Asta's own symbol domain or domain amplification on steroids, meaning that it is likely that none of Sukuna's sure hit would even reach his anti-magic armor, as it would be nullified before that, and there would be nothing to hit. And don't forget that if Asta destroys the Malevolent Shrine Dome...
Do you have anything to say about that? Do you have any issues?
And we already explained why he couldn't just do that to domain.
We explained why he couldn't do that to domain, but like I'm referring to like the point of like him trying to equate mana zone to domain expansion.
He did say they're dissimilar himself.
He says they're similar, but like they're not quite similar.
I mean, I can't really equate it myself to not being that knowledgeable on mana zones, but
Fair enough.
I
So
know how domains work.
Okay, well, since you're like the JJK guy, you can like tell me if what I'm saying is valid. So the thing about like mana zones, I think the thing about mana zones is that they're not actually manipulating or like actually creating or dominating a space specifically. What they're doing is just using like, yeah, dominate the field by manipulating the mana in the surrounding area. That's not what domain expansion is. You're like actually creating a space with like your innate curse technique or something like that. Whereas mana zone, you're just manipulating external mana to like further amp your attacks, which is why you can like attack omnidirectionally with mana zone because there's like manas everywhere. So I wouldn't really equate that to something like domain expansion. It's just not the same.
Okay, yeah, domain is its own separate space.
Yeah, so this you cannot equate the two. So no, I don't think Asta would just be like Chad walking through mana zones. Oh no, not mana zones, domain expansion. And then there's also the chapter version of them like explaining. So let's read this real quick. I know he like posted this in the video, but we get the full thing here, and it's just a lot easier to see it. Mana zone. It's the ability to harness the mana that's floating in the surrounding area and controlling that territory at will. So it's got nothing to do with like spatial manipulation or anything like that. Within that territory, you can discharge more mana than you personally have from any direction. Your detection abilities grow astoundingly sharp, and superhuman reactions become easy. By borrowing the power of mana, you can move freely even through space.
Okay.
The
Seeing
woman
that,
isn't. Yeah.
it also
Go ahead.
seems like in mana zones that oh my,
No, continue.
that attacks travel.
Well, yeah, it does. It's just you can attack from all directions.
Then I don't really think that's that similar to domain.
Like just because it's like a territory, like it's stated to be like a territory, doesn't necessarily equate it to like domains. Like what's his face? When like I don't know how like I don't know his name. I think it's Ledros. Could be Ledros. Don't really know this guy's name, but like this like reason why Zeno like says something about like the spatial magic user creating like a spatial territory is because he's a spatial mage, and like what this Donnie's using, what doing, since we know how mana zone work, it's got nothing to do with your external mana. It's just the surrounding mana. Since he's inside Xenon's magic, right? You could easily make the argument that like he's just using the magic of that area to like create a spatial mana zone, which has the properties to like erase things. And like I don't think that like equates to every mana zone based off what mana zone's been explained to do.
Yeah, they seem like similar concepts, just executed extremely differently.
Yeah, similar concepts executed completely differently. Yeah, that's like my only critique I have with trying to equate the two.
Domain, then Sukuna would not be able to use any of his curse techniques, at least for a brief period of time,
Wow,
and then
that's
Sukuna
bad.
nullified before that, and there would be nothing to hit. And don't forget that if Asta destroys the Malevolent Shrine Domain, then Sukuna would not be able to use any of his curse techniques, at least for a brief period of time, before recharging it directly with reverse curse technique. This begs the
There
question,
is
can Sukuna's
a problem with that.
Speak, my man.
Sukuna is probably one of the only sorcerers that was see this. He just does use his new technique, even after talking to him. Like when we see him do it the first time, and his domain is still open, and Goder's like popping his implement and shit. We see Sukuna use dismantle on Goder's face.
Oh yeah, we
Might be a cleave of sorts, but
wait. So you're saying that even with like, I don't think his domain was like destroyed when he like hopped in the simple domain and like did the cleave.
his domain isn't gone yet, but is pop. Like
Like
his domain's still open.
yeah, but has there been a scenario where Sukuna has had his domain destroyed and then like right after he's like, no, actually nah, because like when he was fighting Yuji, like he had to wait for his burnt out curse technique.
Yeah.
So like if well he could like do the risky move and like just heal his burnt out curse technique like right after using his domain, like we've seen him do when like fighting Gojo. So it doesn't need to be like a few seconds, especially when these Donnies are like can open a domain expansion in less than a second.
And when Gojo and Sukuna are fresh, they're just spamming domain moves.
Yeah. So are you? I think like he could like spam domain. Well, Gojo could spam domain 5 times before he couldn't open up a domain anymore. I think it's 5 times, or was it 4?
I think it was 5 times. Yeah. Yuji states it in the chapter after Sukuna, well, after Gojo's camp.
And we
Sukuna,
know that. Yeah. Wait, actually, continue.
Sukuna should be able to do it at least 6 times, considering he thought he could again, but unlimited void stopped him.
No, the thing is that I think like because Sukuna beat Gojo like twice in a domain clash, and he didn't like had to like heal his brain. No, like he
Yeah.
didn't have to use reverse curse technique to heal his curse technique. Like he only did that like I think 3 or 2 times, but because of the unlimited void, he couldn't do it the next time. And I don't know how long it will take him. Like even if he like reroutes, like even if well, actually, I think even if he does it 6 times, he could just heal that part of the brain with reverse curse technique to then just continue doing it because
Yeah,
he's
especially
already
against
done
like
it.
black classes.
Yeah, because he's already done it, and he was hit with unlimited void. Well, actually, yeah, he was also hit with unlimited void. So if he if he already knows the location of the brain where he uses curse technique, so then he'll be able to just heal it like right after.
Yeah. And we know that if he lands Black Flash, he just negates the entire.
Yeah, he can negate that as well.
He can just like fully reset it.
Yeah, but like he has far more like cursed energy than Gojo, so he has to hit it a lot more.
Yeah.
Does domain amplification, or a simple domain, work on Asta's anti-magic? Well, if you look into Black Clover, we can see that Asta has already resisted magic-based power nullification. Absolute Space would be a decent example to compare. It is a form of spatial magic that is power nullification, as it basically takes control or shuts off the power of anybody in that space. An even stronger version of it was thought to be worthless on Asta, which I find important because these anti-domain techniques, these characters are using a form of spatial manipulation, and that bridges a similarity what Asta's already resisted before. Julius' time stop, which surrounds people in a time orb and shuts off their power of anybody inside of it, well, Lucius used a stronger version of it on Asta, and it didn't work. Damnatio scale magic is a form of power nullification, and he thinks it's worthless on Asta. I also don't think that simple domains would be useful at all, as simple domains only nullify sure hits. Though it is stated that a simple domain does increase your power and it weakens the curse energy of others, but even if it could weaken anti-magic, it likely wouldn't be enough. As for domain amplification, it does nullify curse techniques, but not curse energy, which means that even if we want to grant that it would work on Asta's anti-magic, it would only work on his anti-magic abilities, not raw anti-magic energy. Black Divider, Black Slash, maybe even Causality Break are essentially anti-magic spells, the equivalent to a curse technique. If he were to channel anti-energy into his fists, that would not be cancelled out by domain amplification, or just launching out anti-magic with a Zeton punch. Amplification would not nullify that because it's not a curse technique. It's not the equivalent of a curse technique. It is raw anti-magic energy. We have to remember that anti-energy is more like the fuel of Asta's power, but he's actually using a sword grimoire. But as I said, it likely just doesn't matter.
Do you have anything to add? Well, not add, but like say to that.
I
Because
mean,
he
Sukuna can probably use Hollow Wicker Basket and Domain Amplification at the same time. Since we know he can use Domain Expansion and Domain Amplification at the same time, and we know
yeah.
Hollow Wicker Basket is just a simple version of Simple Domain.
Let us read what is Hollow Wicker Basket, because I have forgotten what it does.
I can send this.
I've got the scan on Discord. In Shibuya, Jogo and Hanami used the domain amplification in a sure hit domain to counteract Gojo's limitless curse technique by deliberately not using their curse technique and thereby leaving some space to funnel it through. Hollow Wicker Basket and Simple Domains cannot directly counteract cursed techniques. These curse techniques neutralize the barrier of the domain expansion and hence nullify the sure hit. Fishiguro's, yeah, that's pretty much all the irrelevant stuff about that one. And then on the other one, the Kusakabe statement, I can incorporate my own original programming to my simple domain, allowing me to intercept anything that invades my. I think that's the wrong scan from my half.
If you check the Naruto scan
The
for Falling Blossom
Naruto.
Remission, it
Naruto.
says that Simple Domain expands on domain.
Wait, can you send that? I don't think I have that.
I did.
Could you send that on Insta?
I did.
Oh, ah, perfect. Hollow Wicker Basket is the original form of New Shadow style. It neutralizes a domain to neg the guarantee. Okay, that's pretty much what we went over. Now, oh, this one. I think I already showed this one when we were like talking about. Yeah,
We
we
did
were.
show it by when talking about anti-domain techniques.
Yeah, but what's this for again? Well, yeah, he should be able to like use Hollow Wicker Basket and domain amplification.
Yeah. So you can just pop up at the same time.
It should be possible. But if Donnie is saying like Asta's like sword abilities is like curse techniques are not like the anti I don't know. If he's granting the fact that like it can work on like his swords or something like that, then like it should be fine. Anti magic is like cursed. Well, is just created as like cursed energy, but it like kinda someone has like the properties of positive energy.
I was just kind of steel manning because he kind of it kind of locks himself in a corner if he argues that Asta's sword attacks are like curse techniques.
Yeah, wait. Let's reverse what he said just to like make sure because I don't want to like
Yeah.
straw man. Let's go back.
Technique. It is raw anti-magic energy cancelled out by domain amplification. Or Black Slash, maybe even Causality Break are essentially, which means that even if we want to grant that it would work on Asta's anti-magic, it would only work on his anti-magic abilities, not raw anti-magic energy. Black Divider, Black Slash.
Okay, well, what do you think about that?
I'm pretty sure he's equating the anti-magic when in its raw form to cursed energy. But then the sword techniques to curse techniques.
Well, yeah, the sword is like the swords come from like the grimoire, which is pretty much like a curse technique per se. Because like we know that like Licht had sword magic, and he used those swords. So like those swords could just be like a curse technique equivalent.
Yeah. So
So
if
I
Sukun
kind
is
of
popping,
no no continue.
so Sukun is topping Hollow Wicker Basket and Domain Amplification because Broku's already admitting that they'd work on the different applications of anti. But he wasn't really taking into account that Sukune can use both, therefore nullifying both.
He could, but I'm pretty sure the like we've seen domain amplification like work on like Gojo's reverse curse technique. Well, not reverse curse technique, like
Is
red.
limitless. Oh yeah,
Yeah, which red is just positive energy, which we know that like positive energy can like erase cursed energy because like it can erase curses
yeah,
who are just cursed energy. So if it can like soften or like neg the blow of red, which is like similar to like anti magic, then like it's possible that it could work on anti magic.
Slash, maybe even causality break.
I don't I don't think it will just like neg it, but I do think it will like soften the blow.
oh yeah,
Are essentially anti-magic spells, the equivalent to a curse technique. If he were to channel anti-energy into his fists, that would not be cancelled out by domain amplification, or just launching out anti-magic with a Zetan punch. Amplification would not nullify that because it's not a curse technique. It's not the equivalent of a curse technique. It is raw anti-magic energy. We have to remember that anti-energy is more like the fuel of Asta's power, but he's actually using a sword grimoire. But as I said, it likely just doesn't matter. Power nullification just does not work on anti-magic. You might think that Sukuna can just outlast Asta because he has reverse curse technique which allows him to heal himself. And he is stated to have stamina that is a rival to Gojo's, and his is nearly infinite. And so you'd think he'd just constantly re-heal until Asta's out of stamina and then defeat Asta when he has no power. Unfortunately for Sukuna, Asta already has a counter to this as well, as one of the effects of anti-magic is regeneration negation. That's what Asta used his true level of anti-magic. He launched a slash on Dante that Dante could not regenerate from. And we actually see that his body magic can completely heal him when he gets vaporized by Yami's black holes. Dante's regeneration is so potent that even Jack's adapted slashes could not negate his regeneration, even though he could negate Fauna's regeneration back in the Elf arc. Not even Lucius clones, who have the magic type of all of the Dark Triad, can regenerate from a fraction of Asta's current anti-magic power. Effectively, whatever wound Asta puts on Sukuna with anti-magic reverse.
What do you think on that?
I think he's kind of a limited regeneration as a whole because he's acting as if like all forms of regeneration are similar. Canceling one form of
Yeah,
regeneration doesn't mean that you can just inherently cancel every form of regeneration.
yeah,
So like unless you can prove that Dante's regeneration is identical or extremely similar to Sukuna's, I don't think it's
yeah. I don't think it's gonna work. So here's the thing. Reverse curse technique is like, well, positive energy isn't cursed energy, and if you're equating cursed energy to like magic, then positive energy would just be like a different form of like energy system because it's like it reverses like your curse technique's effect or like structure, which we know that like negative mana and regular mana don't do. They're just like pretty much the same, and there's just one's more one's more powerful, the other one isn't. But it doesn't like completely flip the it does not completely flip the like effects or like how your magic works if you use either or. Yeah, you understand what I mean, right?
Yeah. I also sent you a
Like,
scan for domain
oh,
amplification working on positive energy.
the scan. He used amplification to minimize the damage, even if he amplifies to negate a low output and neutral limitless curse technique. He can't fully negate Azura. I think I'm
It's
pronouncing
less
that name.
effective on curse techniques and positive energy, but it still works. And this is a heavily nerve circuit.
Yeah, yeah, and to also point out, my argument is that I'm pretty sure you guys have seen, well, especially you, Abyss. Have you seen the part where like the Elf Saga?
Which chapter you wrote again?
Like you know the part where like Pacha becomes a dark elf
Vaguely, yeah.
and like he uses like dark magic. Like I like talk about it in my Slow Clover video.
Yeah.
Like in like that fight, like Pacha like uses negative mana, uh, but like his light magic, like his demon light magic, doesn't like the properties don't change. It's just stronger.
Hmm.
But unlike for positive energy, it flips your entire ability, which is why like Sukuna doesn't really use positive energy on his curse technique, even though he has RCT
RCT.
output. Like, cause like he healed Megami, which means that like he has positive energy output, and we know that like you just instead of using cursed energy to fuel your cursed technique, you use positive energy to flip it. So
And we know curse technique reversal is just the complete inverse, since we see the Kenjaku primarily and Gojo.
oh yeah, also Kanjaku uses it. So like I think it's like a different energy system. So I don't think that Asta would just be able to negate that if we're only saying cursed energy is magic. Then like positive energy wouldn't be considered magic. Would be considered a different energy system.
Yeah.
So it like anti magic wouldn't work on it.
Reverse curse technique is not going to be able to recover from it. But even if you think RCT would still work, Asta can still use Causality Break to either shut off his curse energy so he could not use RCT, or even possibly reverse its causality.
Massive assumptions. Massive assumptions with the Demon Destroyer sword.
I think I've shown that Sukuna's own curse technique cannot stand up to the flaw of the world, so you need to lean on the curse technique belonging to a younger teenager, the Ten Shadows technique. But really, we all know what matters about the Ten Shadows, and that is the Divine General, Maharaga. Can the Shikigami adapt to the phenomena of anti-magic? Well, this one is actually harder to answer than I thought, because it actually depends on how exactly Maharaga's adaptation works. If the adaptation is through his curse energy, then this is something that might not work against anti-magic. But if his adaptation is
That's not
actually
how
his
Marvel.
physical biology,
It is.
Fam, it isn't. It's neither. It's because of the wheel.
Well, yeah.
That's why no, not Maharaga. That's why Sukuna can adapt for Maharaga when he has the wheel above his head. It's not a. Hang on, I have it. I know I posted the scan. Uh, just above. Here we go. Yeah, he's talking about that wheel. Let's zoom in so I can read it. The Furu, I think it's Furu's.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fury's incarnation of the 10 sacred treasures, and that wheel represents a complete cycle and harmony. I bet the Shinigami's power is the ability to adapt to any and all phenomena, kind of like a late throw in rock, paper, scissors. So it's just the wheel.
Yeah,
So
and we
us.
know that Maharuka just doesn't have curse energy to start.
Wait, what?
When he first fights Sukuna, he just isn't using curse energy instead. Sukuna comments
Uh,
on him using positive energy instead.
he used positive energy at first, but like that didn't do shit. So then he tried cursed energy to see if that did anything, and that also still didn't do anything. So
I
he's
interpreted it as
probably,
like an adaptation, as I'm pretty sure Wheel spun at that point.
yeah, the wheel spun, but like the wheel, I don't think that like grants you, like, because you need cursed energy to make positive energy.
Yeah,
So like he should have just both,
yeah, probably. Yeah.
but like he's not dependent on either.
You can even make the argument that the Wheel is metaphysical,
Oh, how so?
since we know that it doesn't even have to be generally physical, as Sukuna makes it just interact with memories. So
Also, you could say it's like it's spiritual.
in a way, yeah,
Like it can be spiritual.
yeah, like yeah,
Well, it's to be fair, curses are like supposedly like spiritual beings technically, because like when a curse is like sitting on top of someone's shoulders, they just like feel as if like they have like an aching shoulder. Remember the incident where like the guy that like helped Yuji jump Mahito when they like
yeah,
first fought? Yeah, like in his backstory, um when he just wanted to have like a regular normal life or something like that, or didn't really like doing
and
sorcery,
the
he
baker
like,
girl here.
yeah, he bumped into like some baker girl uh in like some shop, and like there was like a curse on her shoulder, and she just like had a aching shoulder, and like, bro, one tap to the curse, and then she was like, oh, I feel better, or something like that. So like you
Especially with how
could
curses,
continue.
how like curses are generated based on fear.
It's
It
just
kind of
based
makes
on
sense to me.
negative emotions. So it's like it doesn't really have to be fear. It could just be like, I fucking
Mm.
hate you, or I'm
But
scared.
it's not out of the question for them to be like metaphysical, my bad,
Yeah,
in nature.
you could say that they're like metaphysical or like conceptual beings, seeing how I'll probably get into like my conceptual argument with like what's her face, Yuki, Gojo, and like Maharaka's like seemingly conceptual abilities or some shit.
Okay.
But I personally wouldn't want to like say, although you can make the argument, I wouldn't say that like they're conceptual, because like
Yeah.
you you're gonna get like these fanboys that will say, outer JJK.
I'm just saying it's just I don't think Maharaga's wheel is purely physical.
Yeah, I, yeah, I also think that. All right, let's
Then it might, but
continue.
there's a massive hint that can help us figure that out. Shikigami cannot be seen by non sorcerers, and that is because non sorcerers cannot see curse energy or curse spirits because they are made of curse energy. This then means that Shikigami are also constructs of curse energy, putting Maharaga as a similar type of creature.
Maharaka would die from just using positive energy if that was the case.
And that's just correlating without establishing causation, which is fallacious.
Yeah. So the manga just proves that notion. Let's continue.
To the elemental spirits who are comprised entirely of mana, which makes me believe that not only would Maharaga not be.
Wait, let me actually show the scan for the people that don't believe that or don't 100% understand that. Where is it now? I know I have you. Where are you at? But why are you like this? Huh? Hang on. There we go. Right here. That's a specialized blade for cursed spirits. The sword of execution. It's enveloped in positive energy that is similar to reverse cursed energy. If I was a cursed spirit, I would be a goner. So yeah, like Maharaga would have like just die. And then here he's ooh. And then here, unlike the first attack, which was imbued with positive energy, so Maharaga imbued the sword with positive energy. The second was imbued with cursed energy. As for my attack, it was able to recognize this mantle. Both occurred after that wheel on its back turned. So yeah, he can imbue the sword with either or, but he doesn't necessarily have to imbue it. So it's not just the sword's property.
Yeah.
Be able to regenerate because of Asta's layered regeneration negation, but the anti-magic would also significantly hamper his adaptation. This brings up a question that I probably should have answered earlier. How is Asta to fight Sukuna or Maharaga if he cannot see their techniques or even Maharaga at all? But that's never stopped Asta in his own series. It is stated early on that Asta could not see.
Well, I don't know if he like hammers this home, but like Maharaga, like Asta's like attacks just won't work on Maharaga like at all because they're just all slashes.
Yeah.
And if he like
I'll
hits
run very
Maharaga with like a slashing attack, like it may like damage him, but he'll just like regenerate and just adapt to not cursed energy, to anti magic.
Yeah.
Because like, hang on, let me show the scan for the people that don't know. So I already pointed out the differences between dismantle and cleave. Okay, cool. Whatever. But this Stunny, hang on. Where's this Stunny? Here we go. So, I think this is the right way. Yeah. The only way to defeat Maharaga is to slaughter it with a new attack before it can adapt. Cleave fits the criteria. However, if it hadn't or hasn't adapted only to dismantle, but to slashing attacks in general. So, what's his face? This Donnie, Sukuna used dismantle, which was like the range slash that we see. What's his face? Maharaga take damage, and then the next time he like was able to reflect it, right? So he used cleave afterwards, which that should have one tapped him, but clearly it didn't, even though like cleave is a different slash. So yeah, what's his face? So I think anti magic like slashes would probably like damage Maharaga, but he will just adapt to it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't like one shot him. He can't get one shotted by any slash because he like adapted to the concept of it. And then we also like I might as well just say it. We also like later see I don't know if I mentioned it, but like we see like Sukuna's domain expansion turned Maharaga into like a pile of blood. Like he like in the anime he like vaporized him. And then like Maharaga like is regenerating, and then starts walking through that bitch like a Chad.
I mean, in the manga, we see him getting like sliced to bits in 1 second, and the next he's just completely gone. And even when we see like half of Malrog on the floor, and it said Malrog's generation is soon to be complete, so he was already
Yeah,
complete.
yeah, and that was like from a pile of blood. Well, as depends if you will watch the anime or like the manga. In the anime, it just seems like he just got disintegrated, and I'm pretty sure the similar thing happened with like the manga, but I can't really remember.
It just shows like crumbled buildings and like dust everywhere, and
Wait,
Malrog is like
let's
near corpse.
um, what chapter would you say that is? Like 90?
Yeah, 119.
119, you say?
Yeah,
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, no, you actually like kind of see him get like disintegrated. If you can see on my screen,
yeah,
like yeah, he's been eviscerated, just atomized. And then next screen, next scene, he's like all better per se, but still taking slashes.
yeah,
And then he's like almost healed. And then you can like see little blocks of his, I don't know, body parts just reforming. And that's like, if Sukuna slashes can do that to someone who is like adapted to the concept of slashing, then I don't think that like Asta could like Chad walk through like domain expansion, like Sukuna's domain expansion.
yeah.
I think like most people, yeah, I think most people in Black Clover would like get fucked over in Black Clover, and also Seven Deadly Sins. Just in case people say or like think I'm biased. Yeah, I think the main expansion would work on characters in Seven Deadly Sins as well, like to an extent. But like, yeah, if it's able to work on someone who adapted to the concept of slashing, and yeah, that's kind of
See mana, but he actually can see them
a kind of good feat.
because of his ki. So he doesn't see them with his eyes, he sees them with his ki. He sees how they affect the world around him, which gives him a similar ability to how Maki sees cursed spirits. Remember, Asta can even see Gildre with ki, even though he is completely invisible. But let's say that Maharaga fully adapts to Asta. Is it over for the flaw of the world? We know that if the curse technique gets cancelled or nullified, then it actually invalidates Maharaga and his adaptation, which means that if Asta does causality break on Sukuna's power, it would actually affect causality so that Maharaga was never actually summoned, and likely revert all of his adaptation. Also,
Wait, what?
if Maharaga adapts to anti-magic, Asta can revert.
Did you understand that?
I think he's saying causality break just negates Maharaga's adaptation.
Hang on.
Is it over for the flaw of the world? We know that if the curse technique gets cancelled or
When he uses the main amplification to touch me, the wheel turns black. It's safe to assume that it interrupts any adaptation process. So he can't activate his domain, but he can use amplification, probably because the area of his brain I hit was in charge of barrier techniques. Okay, so this is talking about Sukuna using domain amplification so that he could touch Gojo or something like that, which would then like stop the adaptation process. That doesn't mean that like any power nullification from like an external source would just disrupt the adaptation process. If anything, Sukuna or Maharaga or whoever has the wheel would just adapt to that power now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's trying to take this scene and then like paint it as if, oh yeah, anyone with power now could like just neg the adaptation process, when it's not the case. It's only if the user who's doing the adaptation for Maharaga is like would disrupt the adaptation process.
or nullified, then it actually invalidates Maharaga and his adaptation, which means that if Asta does causality break on Sukuna's power, it would actually affect causality so that Maharaga was never actually summoned, and likely revert all of his adaptation. Also, if Maharaga adapts to anti-magic, Asta can revert to brute strength, as even without anti-magic, he scales above all of JJK.
Oh, there's some text.
All right.
You want to read that for me?
In a canon episode supervised by the creator, a demon steals the mana of the black holes. This includes Yami's. Despite this, Yami believes that only Asta can save them. And Asta does, without the use of his anti-magic. He doesn't even pull out a grimoire. This takes place after multiple power-ups post-Elf Saga, meaning that Asta without anti-magic may have surpassed the World Devil in power. The Word Devil.
World Devil. Supervised by the creator. Okay, so I don't think he like actually proves that in this video from my like first watch. Yeah, he kind of needs to like prove that the author supervised this filler, and then prove that the filler is canon to the story. Because like just because the author supervises something or takes part in a project, that doesn't mean that the project is automatically canon, and this is confirmed to be in the same story or so on. That's pretty much a baseless assumption. Do you have anything to say about that?
Nah, mainly because it's just Black Clover oriented.
Fair enough. But like, do you agree with like the just because the author helps in like a project doesn't necessarily mean it's part of the main story?
Yeah.
Because like you have like Dragon Ball. Damn, I don't know like all of like the names for like the Dragon Ball continuity. But like there's a lot of like Dragon Ball variants like GT and Dragon Ball Superheroes or something like that, where it adapts the game and like the author is like part of it. It doesn't mean like they're all just canon.
Yeah. Like Akira Toriyama supervised and does character design for GT, but it's not inherently canon, even though people do argue it.
Yeah.
A weirdly popular interpretation of this battle has Asta losing to Sukuna by trying to use Talk no Jutsu, and then Sukuna would take him out while he's off guard. But Asta, with his key sensing, can
That's
sense
a
the emotions and
retarded
intentions of others.
argument.
He'd be able
Whoever
to sense
does that,
Sukuna
well,
is not
whoever
someone worth
makes that
attempting to reason with.
argument.
People will say Maharaga has infinite attack potency because he countered infinite pressure of a true sphere. But that was with the power nullification from his blade that he doesn't scale to, and was something he already adapted to. And even if this scaling is granted and Maharaga has infinite power, well,
I didn't really want to talk about AP, but since he already is bringing it up in this portion, we might as well talk about it. What do you have to say on that?
It's just blatantly stated that Maharaga, like fucking, like shattered the perfect sphere. Yeah, he destroyed it, and it's not like a negation. It actively shatters on him. The chapter is 219.
219. Marvelous. Yeah, damn, you know your chapters. 219. Ooh. Hang on. 219. Okay. Okay. A perfect sphere. Yeah, infinite pressure. Domain amplification. Yeah. And you could actually see like it cracking and stuff. Like where it pierced, it is getting pulverized.
Yeah.
Like you don't hang on, let me show you where I think it's where is it now? Don't worry, I have it. Here it is. Like you can see when Maharaga is imbuing it with like positive energy. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in this chapter, you don't see that. He just like pops that bad boy. It like shatters. So I don't think it's power null. I just think he's just that strong. He can just shatter it. And
Yeah.
even if you want to say it's adapted to um he adapted to it, all that would mean is that like okay, he's adapted to infinite like pressure, like power, and like can just won't take damage from it or some shit, which people like are able to still damage him. But yeah, I digress.
Yeah, it's JP.
Check out this video where I show the plethora of evidence that Asta's own power is infinite. And this leads to the final talking point of the video that I mentioned I would talk about earlier. What if anti-magic could not nullify curse energy?
And fun fact, for those of you that don't know but may be interested, I did do a video. Hang on, damn, why's my ooh? I need to put my laptop on charge. It's a good thing I noticed it before it died.
Lose the recording.
Yeah, it's still recording. Yeah, we don't want to lose the recording. Hopefully if it does die, it would like automatically like save. But yeah, I'll just put you on charge. I cannot risk it. There we go. Where's that Donny? Is it? Oh, Slow Clover. There you guys. That's what it looks like. Go check it out. I think it refutes the notion of like infinite power Asta.
Energy. This is where Sukuna gets more win conditions. Asta cannot nullify World Slash, he cannot protect himself from sure hits by nullifying them, and he cannot nullify Maharaga or his adaptations. And if Sukuna is ever damaged by Asta, he can just use Reverse Curse Technique, and in this scenario, Asta cannot nullify it, basically giving every benefit of the doubt to Sukuna while removing Asta's main power as a character. But in this scenario, Asta is still at least hundreds of times faster and stronger than Sukuna. He should be able to withstand the sure hits from Sukuna, as again, they couldn't kill a much less durable Gojo even when he was not using RCT. So in this scenario, scenario, I still don't believe Malevolent Shrine is enough to take down Asta. This leads to World Slash, which again is a spell that he can actually see and be dodged, as we saw Maki do that. Asta is many times faster than her. There's no reason why he could not
Use it on
actually
Maki.
dodge it. Asta's sensory ability
Yeah, I think we already like disproved the notion of like Sukuna using World Slash on like Maki.
Yeah, when he brought up precaution.
Yeah.
are so good that even when he is trapped inside of a space with no light and a spell that blocks out the sensing of life energy so he cannot see Ki, he still is able to see and know where Noct was within that space. He's able to turn around and parry light speed attacks early in the series with his eyes closed. Oh, and when it comes to skill, I think Asta can more than hold his own. Not to say he's more skilled than Sukuna, but he's learned from several master swordsmen. He has the ability to copy magic with his own movements. And when he fought Kyoto, a swordsman who had dance magic, Asta could copy his fighting style, essentially copying one of his spells in just one page of the story. And even if Asta cannot nullify or resist Maharaga's adaptation, we do see that if somebody is far stronger and faster than him, he can still lose, like when 15-finger Sukuna dominated him. Once Sukuna actually went serious, he defeated him without difficulty.
Yeah, but the thing is that Asta
With
doesn't
Fuga.
have. Huh? Oh
I
yeah,
said
yeah,
with
yeah.
Fuga.
That is with Fuga. But like the thing is that like Asta doesn't have any other means of attack that would like one shot him in a sense. Like I know you'll have like the Black Clover fans that will say, oh, what if Asta like punches him or some shit. The thing about that is that like Asta like punching someone and like hitting someone with a sword is drastically different. It's drastically different, and then like especially in like within the works of fiction, like you could be like war level with your punches, but then like with magic attacks or like a sword strike, you can be like universal or some shit. Like you would have to like somewhat prove Asta's like punches is like on that level to his sword strikes. But even if you do or somehow prove it, I think that like Maharaga probably already adapted to it, like the concept of punching and kicking, because Sukuna did plenty of those to him, and like it didn't really do any damage from my memory of that fight, or did it?
Huh?
Like, remember when like Sukuna was like boxing with like Maharaga?
Yeah.
Did like Maharaga take any damage from like the punches?
I don't think he didn't bump him, you know?
Like, cause I just remember them like clashing. Like the only time like Maharaga takes damage is from like when Sukuna uses his like curse technique. Like, wait, you have seen the anime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just making sure.
And I saw the blue.
Yeah, so and seeing how like Maharaga was like the wheel can adapt to all phenomena, then like you could easily argue that he's probably already adapted to like the concept of punching and kicking.
Yeah, so you can only physically hit him 2 times. Neither of
Yeah,
them do really anything.
yeah, and we know that like the adaptation process never ends. He's just infinitely adapting to whatever like he got hit.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I have that statement on deck. Um,
I'm pretty sure
actually,
Sukuna states it after killing Gojo.
yeah, I think I have it. Where is it at? No, I do not have it. Or maybe is it this? No, that isn't it. All the purple causes lapse and reversal to collide and thrust forward the resulting virtual amount. No, that's not it. I lied. I do not have it. No matter. But y'all should know what I mean. It's literally stated after like Sukuna killed Gojo.
And even if Maharaga does adapt, Asta can be so much faster than him that if he just focused on Sukuna, he would defeat Sukuna, and defeating Sukuna would then mean Maharaga is also defeated. Because while Sukuna can use RCT, he's not going to be able to use it fast enough. And Asta can kill him, because remember, RCT is not immortality, you still have to be alive.
Um, well, would Maharaga just pop if Sukuna
Yeah.
dies?
The reason we know this is because of Toby and hitting him into it. When he's about to kill Gojo, He says if he's a Shinigami user, he would just kill him because he knows the Shinigami's food.
For real? But we've
Yeah,
seen
I can
like
find it.
what's his face? Like you remember when like in the Shibuya arc, uh, what's his face? Megami like gets one shotted.
Yeah.
And gets
The
like
problem
knocked.
with that though is he was in the exorcism ritual.
Uh,
Sukuna already killed Maharaja.
I see. I see.
I can grab the
Okay.
focus thing.
Never mind.
I sent
does
it.
adapt, Asta can be so much faster than him.
Oh.
And if you just focus
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, he pops up, bad boy. Oh yeah, the I forgot about the statement that you sent. Impossible. He destroyed this true sphere. Yeah, he literally says like he destroyed it, not he negged it or some shit. Let's see here. You're a sorcerer. You'll be fine. I would have killed ya if you were a Shikigami user, but since you're a curse manipulator, I don't. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
on Sukuna, he would defeat Sukuna, and defeating Sukuna would then mean Maharaga is also defeated. Because while Sukuna can use RCT, he's not going to be able to use it fast enough. And Asta can kill him, because remember, RCT is not immortality. You still have to be alive to use it. Because he would be wearing him down, and he'd be forced to activate domain expansion over and over again. And he could destroy that with raw power, like we've seen other characters do. But Asta...
Sukuna isn't really like normal per se, like others. Like we've seen what he looks like when he was like separated from like Megami.
Fucking blob.
Yeah, like some fucking blob with like a few claws. So like, I wouldn't really say that's the case even like for him. Maybe if it was like Gojo or like a normal human, then yeah. And we've also seen like curses just regen from just being ahead. And like Maharaga's like regen is like cracked.
One thing that Broku said earlier, he said that the 10 shadows is the only useful discussion for Maharaja. I think he's seriously underrating the ball here.
Wait, well, what did he say? 10 shadows what?
When he mentioned Megami's technique, he said that the main reason it's important is Maharaga. He's he's definitely underestimating the bull and around
Uh,
here.
yeah. I think like my I think that people just think Maharaga is like super important because he's like the main focus in the story.
Well, yeah.
The other Shinigami just haven't really gotten that much showing of like what they can do.
I mean, around here was able to use RCT potent enough. Like, it was superior to sleeping his own when he was weakening his circuit. Like when he used it with Agito
Oh yeah.
and the bull, the longer it charges up, it increases in potency.
Yeah. Um. I don't really like when it comes down to like their stats. I don't really care. I think like Black Clover speed's wonky without like multiplying stacking, but I don't really like agree with that. Um, and in terms of like AP, it really just depends on where you scale them. And I think Sukuna's like regen is like fast enough. Well, good enough. Like, cause like Sukuna can regen his soul.
I mean, yeah.
Cause he was able to like regenerate from like soul split katana.
Even when he was heavily moused.
Yeah, even when he's heavily nerfed, got brain damage, and also getting weakened by Yuji's punches, and it's like he was able to heal from like soul damage. So, I don't know. Sounds like Asta would like slice and like swing his sword and like Sukuna like just gets obliterated.
Yeah.
I think he will just get cleaved in half pretty nicely if you think Asta is just as strong as what Brokey says. But like, to be fair, Asta's only like superhuman in like speed.
Of course.
Like that 5 second Lucifero fight feat, atrocious, disgusting. Like,
Some birds might throw more for his own.
yeah, like a cat has like faster perception speed, fam. Like faster
Yeah.
reaction speed, fam. Like, Sukuna in like chapter, I think it was like 15 when like Jogo was around. Like he expanded his domain faster than what Itadori could perceive, and Itadori can like perceive a trillionth of a second at the time. And then like you could slap on the black flashes amps, which can be a 2.5 times uh, amp, or a 5 times amp, or to the power of 2.5 times.
Another big thing though is with Asta's speed, you can just shoot him. And we see Kenjaku and Maki catching bullets.
Yeah, fam.
So
Just take out a Glock like 48 or some shit, and I just pop them.
exactly.
Just pop. Yeah, but jokes aside, kinda. But what's his face? Speaking about the black flashes, yeah. So fuck, I forgot the. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So do you see like this kanji?
Yeah.
So I forgot how to pronounce the kanji, but I did my digging. Yeah, you guys can like fact check me on this kanji. Um, it means squared, right? And if you look right here, there's that kanji right below the 2.5. I think it's 2.5. Or is it 25?
It's 2.5. There is
Yeah,
a
it's
decimal.
two. Yeah, there's a decimal. So it's like 2.5 squared, which would mean it's to the power of 2.5 times and not just 2 times. Because you would have to ignore the squared, uh, well, yeah, that kanji that means squared. You would have to ignore it. And like, and in the chapter, you can see the official translations translated it as to the power of 2.5 times, which is the same as 2.5 squared. And the author explains why he wanted to go with this route, even though he like, uh, you know, says some comedic stuff. It doesn't really change the fact on why he put the squared. Yeah, and he also like, because of what like his editor said about, okay, but like 1 squared is still 1. So that's why he says, okay, cursed energy starts with 2 at the bare minimum.
That's how multiplication works too. But
Yeah.
just saying it's only divisible down to 2 also just works. I don't think you can claim that makes the system illogical.
Yeah. Although this is like the higher interpretation, there's still backing for it. Because with like the translation that says 2.5 times, you have to ignore the squared. So, yeah. If you want to incorporate that to Sukuna's arsenal, like, Asta's gonna have some trouble. Especially when, like, the power-up's permanent. Asta's definitely gonna have some trouble. But yeah, let's finish this.
Asta also has one more tool in his repertoire, that's Infinity Slash. Infinity Slash is Asta's own copied version of Yami's Dimension Slash. There is debate of whether or not it cuts through dimensions like Yami's, but I think there's actually a lot of evidence that it does. I mean, there's just a fact that we've seen him copy abilities from other characters, and this is him using Yami's sword. And in light novel, we know that when characters use items and use it with their life energy, their magic, their soul gets imbued into it over time. They can even turn...
Okay, well, that's magic tools, though, not regular swords. It actually, like, just says magic tools can absorb the life force, right? Asta's katana, or like Yami's katana, was just a regular sword that Asta can just cope with anti-magic. And we know, like, the whole Dimension Slash thing it has nothing to do with, like, the sword, but, like, Yami's magic, his darkness magic.
All
So
right.
so like he can literally just use any sword and still use Dimension Slash. Like, we've seen Yami's like first katana like break, and then he gets like a new katana and he can still use Dimension Slash with it. Like, even what's his face? I think I have it. Hang on. Jeez. Don't fail me, Soul Society. Ah, shit. Okay, it's failed me. Hang on, let me post it real quick. Right, because Yami has like a new sword, and he's still able to use Dimension Slash. So it's not like a sword. It's not only like that katana that Asta has ability. Let me post it. Have you seen the fight with where is it? Where is it? Have you seen like Yami's fight with Morgan?
I don't really remember any Yami fights.
Oh, of course. You're not caught up with Black Clover.
I am not.
No, makes sense. Okay, I wanna
I'm
have
not
that.
super well read on Black Clover. That's why I preface some things with not being too knowledgeable on Black Clover.
Let's say less. It'll probably be fast if I just go to the chapter. Oh no, there it is. Okay, it should be okay. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
So this is like in the latest chapters, like Yami using Dimension Slash with a new sword, and we know, what's its face? We know that Yami gave his previous sword to Asta. So this is an entirely new sword. He can still use Dimension Slash. If it was just the sword's ability, then Yami wouldn't be able to do that. And we already know that like darkness has some like spatial properties to it. Like we see like darkness, like Yami Slash somewhat bending light to a degree. And then we like have Yami's statement of like darkness swallowing things, and we like also see like Ichika, his sister, like somewhat bending light beams from Morgan to an extent. So like darkness in general does have like the spatial properties. And we know that the only reason why Yami was able to obtain Dimension Slash was because of the situation he was in. Like, I don't know if you remember this, but Yami was trapped in some spatial barrier, and like his squad mates was like getting fucked up by one of the Eye of the Midnight Sun people. I think his name was Veto, and that's when Yami unlocks it. Hang on, I can show that statement. I think, well, that scan. It's in chapter 80. I'm pretty sure. just want to prove my point, you know. To chapter 80. Okay, it's definitely not in chapter 80, just before that. Maybe 70? There's this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Let me. Getting trapped and pushed against a wall was worth it. To think I'd learn a new spell now. I guess you can get stronger no matter how old you are. This spell is a little like a certain stretched out weirdo, and that bothers me a bit, but still. Despair, shut. Okay, I don't care. It doesn't matter how strong your magic is. This spell cuts through dimensions. So yeah, this is when he like pops into his grimoire. And we know like at the time his sword was just a regular katana. So I don't think that just because Asta is using the same sword and he's swinging like how Yami swings his sword for Dimension Slash, and he names it similarly to Dimension Slash. He just calls it Infinite Slash Equinox, which the only similarity or like the same thing is Slash and Equinox. So, and we also know that like in like after Asta says it, he says what the Slash does. I'll send that scan as well, just so y'all know I'm not taking things out of context or anything funny. It's in chapter 317. Psych, I lied. 316. But say less.
Yeah.
I have a duty. And we're almost
He's
done anyways.
So
Yeah. There we go. Demon Slasher chooses what to cut. It's a katana that doesn't cut what it wants to protect. So, and that's like right after Asta does like the infinite slash and like slashes through Yami and William, but like doesn't actually cut them, but only the spell. Which that was the scenario Asta needed in order to save them. So you can't really like equate the two. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Use items and use it with their magic. Their life energy, their magic, their soul gets imbued into it over time. It can even turn regular items into talking, living items. So if he has Yami's sword, why is it that crazy that he couldn't use similar abilities? The naming conventions are there. There's Infinity Slash and Infinity Slash Equinox, and there's Dimension Slash and Dimension Slash Equinox. But we also actually see Infinite Slash cut through space. Remember, it destroyed Nox's Monozone. Monozone is taking control of an already existing physical space and making that your own spatial territory. But that means that this is physical space, not magical space. This is further supported by Bell's description of Yuno's Monozone. And remember, Asta destroyed Monozone, so he has destroyed physical space with Infinite Slash. You could try and argue that he's just...
You're just controlling the mana within said space, not the space itself.
We've already
Or
gone
the
over
mana
that.
of the Monozone.
Yeah.
But that's not really what's stated. Plus, we've already seen anti-magic work on physical space before, as he pierced holes through Dante's warp space, which is physical space warped by his gravity. So with Infinite Slash being able to cut space, and Asta being stronger than Sukuna...
What was that warp space meant to do? Any hints?
He said gravity.
Like, Dante, like, warp space to, like, teleport? Well, not teleport, but, like, hang on, let me see. I think he did use the warp space to, like, teleport his body, but, like, left it there.
through Dante's warp space.
But, like,
Not really what's stated. Plus, we've already seen anti-magic work on physical space before, as he pierced holes through Dante.
yeah, but, like, it's not like he cut the space. He just, like, went through it. And, like, we see Dimension Slash do the same thing to warp space, but, like, didn't cut through it. It just, it didn't, like, cleave the actual space in half. It just, like, went through it as if you would, like, walk through a regular door. But, yeah, what do you, like, what takes do you have on it?
I mean, if it's just a warping space to teleport, then that's not doing much. I don't think that
Yeah,
proves anything.
it went through it, but like nothing suggests that it can cut the space. It's not like it negged the space or anything. So,
Dante's warp space, which is physical space warped by his gravity. So with Infinite Slash being able to cut space, and also being stronger than Sukuna, it would be an attack that could likely not only counter Sukuna's World Slash, but also land a death blow, and would likely overwhelm Maharaja as well. So yeah, I think Asta is like the perfect counter to Sukuna, and also pretty much Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole.
Okay, I don't really care for the rest of the part. Yeah, I don't really care. Final takes.
I don't think this really established anything against Sukuna's abilities. I think a lot of it was misinterpretation.
Yeah, like, I don't think he like understood like JJ like Sukuna's like abilities and like how
Yeah.
domain expansion works, positive energy or reverse curse technique. I don't really think he understood that, or nor did he understand like world slash. Like he kept on trying to like equate like spatial slash like cutting space as like equivalent to like cutting reality, which just like isn't the same. And like the whole Maharaga thing was just like completely wrong. Like trying to say like Maharaga's like a cursed spirit or something like that, which he would like just fucking die if he was. And like the whole adaptation process, like even though it's like deliberately stated, I think he didn't really understand the adaptation thing. And he also forgot to like bring up like Black Flash and also binding vowels, because like Sukuna is a binding vowel merchant. Like you could do some crazy shit with binding vowels.
I
So
said it in DMs before.
oh what?
Uh, I saw the same take pretty much. It just sounds like he took a respect threat. It doesn't seem like he did much of his own research.
Mm,
Hence the constant lack of comprehension regarding this.
mm, that might be the case.
Well, that's why I said it. It sounds like he just read respect threat.
Yeah, but based on how he like scaled like their AP and speed, I still kind of find it like Asta winning being like concrete, because like if Sukuna's like has the wheel adapting to Asta, and like he's like already adapted to like slashes and stuff, then I like kind of find it hard for like Asta to be able to damage someone with like a slash. Like I don't think Asta will be able to like damage Sukuna, who has adapted to like the concept of slashing, and I don't think that Asta will be able to like withstand slashes that can like obliterate someone who's adapted to the concept of slashing. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, that is all for this debunk. I know this one's long, but yeah, thanks for showing up,
Of course.
Abyss. We will definitely, well, hopefully, God willing, if I'm still around and alive, do future debunks and collabs. Yeah.
As long as we regard the verse that I'm decently knowledgeable, I'm dead.
What?
I said as long as it includes a verse that I'm decently knowledgeable in, I'm
Oh
down.
yeah. For sure.